Welcome back to AFTV. It's time for the predicted 11. But crucially, when it comes to predicting what we think Arteta's going to do, I've got to gather some information. So Cecil and Laura are going to help me by giving them the 11s they want to see, and then taking that into account, hearing how they're thinking, wondering maybe if Arteta's thinking a similar way. I'm then going to build what I believe is the predicted Arsenal 11, what I think Arteta will go with come Sunday. There's injury news to think about, of course, because Saka is a major doubt after coming off in 3 games in a row in his last 3 starts. So we've got to keep an eye on that as well. Martinelli hasn't kicked a ball since the Everton away game, Goodison Park, so he's very much an uncertainty. And Thomas Partey, we know he's fit, we know he's trained, hell, we know he was even on the bench for the Champions League on Tuesday night, but does that make him available for the game come Sunday? We're going to discuss all that with Laura and Cecil in just a sec. But before we do, download the AFTV Plus app and you can tag me and AFTV on socials. Let us know the 11 you want to see, and crucially the 11 that, like I said, you want to see. If you're Mikel Arteta, you're picking the 11 going into probably our biggest home game of the season, what would you go with? All right, let's talk to Cecil and hear what he thinks. All right, Cecil, convince me. The starting 11 you want to see, talk me through it. Let's start in goal.
All right, let's start in goal. This, by the way, I think for the players that are available, this is the strongest 11 we can go with.
Are you assuming... Actually...
No, let me get there. Let's get into this.
Let's go.
David Raya in goal.
Ooh.
Ramsdale, you know I love you.
Don't tell Lee Judges.
I know. And me and Lee Judges have a good affiliation with Ramsdale. I'm a big fan of him. But David Raya, there's a feeling. It's just a feeling. I don't think there's massive gulf between both players when they're in between the sticks. But I just feel a bit more assured with Raya in goal, in the sense the way he claims he claims his area. Right, so him in goal. Right back, Ben White. I think Ben White, you don't really say too much about him. He's been sometimes a bit inconsistent. He has been before, but he is, for me, our best right back at the club. Even though he's not a right back, he's a centre back, but our best right back. Going into the centre back pairing, guys.
Saliba Gabriel speaks for himself.
There's literally nothing I need to say. I can't whack. There's not enough words to describe how amazing those two are as a partnership and just individually.
I will say the left back era gets interesting though, because obviously Zinni tends to keep that place, but I don't know, Tomiyasu, do you want him one-on-one, with some of their wingers?
We've had debates in the past. We say when it comes to like a big game and it's one winger that's tricky, you'd put Tomiyasu in there because he's physical, he's aerially can beat players and whatnot. So I trust Tomiyasu, but Zinchenko, for the way we build up play and offensively, I think he's so crucial to this Arsenal side. So I've got to keep him in there. And I'll be honest, this is one of the positions where I had a lot of thought, because Pep seems to have... Well, he'll know what Zinchenko provides for Arsenal, so he may have his number, but I just feel like we have to have, for balance-wise, and Big Steve talks about momentum and the balance in the side, and I feel like when you get in a rhythm, that he is part of our rhythm, I think, Zinchenko. So Zinchenko for me stays in there. And that back line, I think we do quiet Haaland. I think Haaland gets loads of chances for City, but I actually think he misses a lot. I know he does convert and he does score.
This season he's been a little bit more erratic. Now inevitably he'll score a hat-trick against us, now we've said it.
Yeah.
But there's been a wastefulness about Haaland this season we haven't seen last season. But I think the job is to keep him quiet. Just don't deny him the chances, like the Community Shield.
Yeah, I think Saliba actually does that. I think keeps him quiet. I just think it's the
Gabriel
rest of the
too.
team. And Gabriel,
big in the Community Shield.
Agreed. I think it's the other team's job to keep the rest of the players quiet because they have a load of quality. But let me go into the midfield. Thomas Partey in defensive midfield. Risky, of course. He didn't have any minutes over in France. He's coming back from injury. It's a risk, but he's been training with the boys. I think that our balance in the midfield is the best when we have the next players that I'm about to mention. So Thomas Partey in defensive mid. In the number 8 role, Declan Rice. I know
box to box, release the shackles, that kind of thing.
Yes, and I know he's been learning a new role and he's done it superbly well. He is really integrated into the side. I was speaking to his brother not too long ago actually, and then we was just mentioning how comfortable he feels now. I know I've dropped it in there, but it's just how it is. I just feel like, he is Arsenal. He's clicked in so well, so quickly, and he's levels.
Does his brother tell you anything about where Rice prefers to play, or does that not come up?
That'll be my next question to him. I'll have an answer and I'll let you know. I'll let you guys know. But yes, but I just feel like the balance is right when he's in there, and he's been superb. So Declan Rice in there.
Yeah.
And then next to him, Martin Odegaard, our captain, of course. That is our strongest midfield three. And I feel like where we can win this game is in the midfield. It's obvious people know Rodri and De Bruyne are out, but this is where we can win this game. As much as I predicted City will win, if we have any hope or any chance, if Mikel Arteta goes to that midfield three.
Front three.
Front three. On the left, Trossard. that's just, there's not really much to say around it. If Martinelli's not available, which I don't think he will be at all, Trossard goes in there. He needs to step up. I've questioned him starting in the Arsenal side. I don't think he starts well. I think he's a very good impact player and he can rise to occasions, but starting, when he starts, he hasn't been great. I think there's been one game where he started and played really well, but I need to see more from that. Up front, Gabriel Jesus. Again, City will know about him, but it's a feeling. I feel more assured. The way he can bully defences. He's technically amazing. Yes, he can be more clinical. He needs to be more clinical at times, but he is superb to watch, and he makes us tick, in my opinion. He gives us the fluidity and the rhythm that I think Arsenal have been lacking since the start of the season. On the right, Bakayo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm pausing is because I was criticising Robbie so much when I was saying he was like, play your best players, play your best players. I did question if they're not 100% fit, do you play them? And Robbie, he wavered, and I'm kind of going against that in this because we just have to play him. And I know I'm going against what I said last week, but there's an international break after this, and what was Gareth Southgate's words? He said, there's a week or so until we play. I don't like that. The focus is here. Play him in this game, and forget internationals.
Pull him out of England.
Yes.
Yeah, I hear it.
I've had enough. I'll be real. I've had enough. Yeah. 3 Lions, all of that. Way I love it. Get by. No, Saka, rest. Play this game and then rest. I don't care what you have to put it. What you have to do. The injections have gone. You can't inject him now. Feed him with, I don't know, the food that that he needs. Get him ready for this game. This is the biggest game. I'm sorry, Bukayo Saka. Whatever it means, any means necessary, get him on the pitch. And that is the strongest, I believe, available 11. I don't know what Laurie's gone with. I don't know what he's going to go with. But if he goes against that, I'll be surprised, because that is a team, in my opinion, that can do something come Sunday.
All right, Cecil, thanks very much. Let's talk to Laurie, see what you go with. Laurie, Cecil's given us his 11. And the big one was in the front line. Before we get to that, we've got a starting goal. Are you doing anything different with your goalkeeper?
I heard Cecil's comments, and I've got to agree with him. I'm going Raya for this game. Reason being, I do think the difference between 2 very good keepers, I've got to say that, is that I think that Raya is more competent with his feet, and that's the way the manager and the team look like they want to play, and I'm cool with that. So as much as I'm a Ramsdale man, I'm going to have to go with Raya for this.
All right, cool. He keeps his place. Let's talk about the back four. Ben White didn't start against Lons. Does he come in at right back for you?
He does for me. Ben White, excellent player, ball playing defender, pivotal to when we get forward, and he does make the runs back. So I'm very happy with Ben White. Very underrated player at Arsenal. He doesn't get the kudos he deserves.
Criminally underrated, I agree. Let's talk about the rest of the back four then. Talk me through it.
Well, the centre pairing, you will know, James, me and you've had many conversations about that. I rate Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes very highly. In fact, I would say, with the possible exception of Stones and Rodri now, they're the best centre pairing in the Premier League, so they've got to start for me.
And they've got a great shout for that.
Yep, and Zinchenko on the left, similar to Ben White, ball-playing defender, can get back and get forward, pivotal to the way we play. He's got to start for me.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, now we're going to midfield. Declan Rice has been holding that 6 role pretty much all season, but in the Community Shield, we saw Partey and Rice play together. What are you going for in this game?
I'm going with Partey in that number 6. Yep, Partey, what can I say? I mean, there is a doubt with him.
Because he's not played since August.
So a game of this, what we believe will be a high-intensity game, will he hit the ground running and will he last? But I'll go with him. I will go with him.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Partey. So yeah, games like this, you need a big place to stand up. The rest of that midfield kind of takes care of itself. Declan Rice, no-brainer really. He's got to play. He'll be up for it. I see him as a big game player in this match. He's been playing well all season. I actually think he can step it up for this game. So yep. And of course the captain Odegaard, who is without, the Lons game apparently wasn't that great, but it's a no-brainer again, isn't it?
Yeah, fair enough. All right, we're going to the front three. Like we said, a few players missing. Are you thinking they might be available, hoping they might be available? What does your 11 look like?
Well, in an ideal world, Saka's got to be on the right, isn't he? Now listen, there is some doubt as to whether he'll start. I did note, though, that England have called him up. To me, that looks quite positive, because if England have called him up, that must mean, A, the injury's not as bad as what we feared the other night, and B, he may have had a sounding out from Arsenal that, we're hoping that he's going to play. So Yeah, let's go with Saka. Let's be positive. We'll go with Saka.
All right, okay, and the rest of your front three.
Right, so on the opposite flank, I'm going for Trossard.
Mm-hmm.
He's looked very good for the most part. We know he can score goals. We know he can finish. He's not the most dynamic in terms of his speed and stuff like that, and taking players on. But what he does offer is that if you do need a goal, you know what I mean, outside of Jesus and those guys, I think he's one of the ones you'd be looking to. And I do think there'll be goals in this game, and I think he could get one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, up front.
And then through the middle, it's got to be Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah,
I'm
makes sense.
a fan of Eddie, but big games need your big players, need your big guys to stand up, and I do think that Jesus, former City player as well, I think he'll be looking forward to this game.
Okay, you've both got me thinking a lot. Let's go through what my predict 11 will be. Let's do it. Plenty of food for thought there from Cecil and Laurie. And you know what? The player they've really got me thinking about is Leandro Trossard. You know, he's actually been, okay, he didn't look great against Lens the other day, should have scored, but generally when called upon, he's been, especially from the start, he's been very good for Arsenal, was very good in pre-season. But I'm going to go a different route. Now, I want to stress something that Laurie was actually just saying off camera is, if Saka's not available, he'd go for Reece Nelson. And if you saw my tactical insight in the week after the Lens game where I touched on what I do tactically against Man City, it was a very similar thing. I said, get your pace and power in the team. And quite frankly, if Saka and Martinelli aren't available, I think you've got to have Reece Nelson and Jesus wide with Trossard leading the line. That's if they're not available. But this is a predict 11 now. Let me know your thoughts on the 11 you want to see. At us on socials, download the AFTV Plus app, completely and utterly free to do, and you can build your 11s and let us know what you want to do. But this is what I think Mikel Arteta's going to go with. David Raya is his number one. I think he stays in goal. Ben White, I think, will return at right back. I think he was rested for a reason. I don't think he was dropped. I think it was a rest with Saliba and Gabriel at centre back. Crucially, I think he's going to go with Tomiyasu at left back, and I would agree with it, to be honest. I said in the tactical insight that, you know what, I'd probably go with Zinchenko or Tommy. I'm not, I don't mind either way, or Tommy or White. But actually, the more I think about this, he played Timber at left back for a reason against Man City in the Community Shield. It was very much to help us in transition, to stifle Man City when they got in and around our penalty area. They're going to go with probably a left-footed right forward in either Bernardo Silva or Foden. And Tomiyasu against Salah did a really good job at left back last season. I think he'll be asked to do a very similar job again. In midfield, Partey hasn't kicked the ball since August, but I believe he will against Man City. I think he's going to start in the 6 with Ødegaard in the right of that midfield and Declan Rice allowed to get forward and just not just get forward to offer a lot, in attack in the final third, but to just bombard the back post, to, crash that back post by getting his head on things. We saw Ødegaard against Bournemouth whipping it, to the edge of the penalty area like that. And also to allow us to press, a big part of what we did against Man City that was so good in the Community Shield was Rodri, who, okay, is not available, it might be Calvin Phillips or Kovacic or someone else. They were suffocated by Rice and Ødegaard really pressing them high up the pitch, and they can do that because Thomas Partey was sat behind to cover up and clean up as well, with a load of really good centre-backs across the back four. I think Arteta will go through it for a similar thing. And the other big prediction for me is that Martinelli and Saka will start this game with Jesus leading the line. I honestly think the medical staff, Mikel Arteta, they'll look like Tony Stark in Iron Man 1, plotting and probing and doing whatever they can to get Bukayo Saka ready and fit for this one game. I think he'll probably limp off, will be subbed off by 60-65 minutes, but I think they'll try to get an hour out of him, pull him out of the England team and say this is a big game. And I know you've got a bigger season to look at, but I think Arsenal can deal with most teams and most things without Bukayo Saka. And that's not to say you're just happy for him to get injured, you're not. But this is a unique game. This is an anomaly in the calendar for me. And I think if Bukayo Saka is potentially fit to play for England, then he's got to be largely in contention for this game for me. I predict he's going to start with Jesus down the middle, Martinelli down the left. And I think the way to beat City, be physical, be imposing, get your tallest back four out there. 6'2" Tommy, 6'2" Ben White, Gabriel Saliba, absolute monsters in the back. David Raya commanding his penalty area. Rice, Ødegaard and Partey, some of the best pressers and best players at covering ground in the Premier League as well, to suffocate Man City. Don't let Nunes play, who is a new Man City player. Kovacic, a new Man City player. They're still adapting, they're still getting to grips. Make it uncomfortable, suffocate them, and then have your paciest, most dynamic, most electric front three to cause them havoc. If we go with that, if we have that 11, I'm really, really confident we can beat Man City. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and like I said, at us on social media, what's the 11 that you would go with crucially? What do you want to see? So at full time, whatever happens, you can say, look, James, this is what I went with, I was right, or this is what I would have gone with, we should have, whatever it might be. We want to hear your thoughts, and we'll cover it in the Starting 11 show as well. Big thanks for joining us. Go check out all the other preview content, all the Superfan debates, lots of content in the big build-up for this massive game on Sunday, where we will keep you up to date with every kick of a ball on AFTV. Catch you in a bit.